Hey there, Eli here, and I'm so excited to share this beginner real estate media course with you. If you follow me on social media or watch my videos on YouTube, you probably know that I absolutely love real estate media and what we get to do for a living, which is create photos, videos, 3D tours, and other assets that real estate agents can use to market their listings. I think it's an absolutely incredible business, and there's a lot of opportunity in it. And so on this course, I want to give you a rundown of the industry as a whole, some things you'll need to know to get started, specifically kind of a 5-step process I recommend, and let's dive in. So first things first, who is this course for? So there's a bunch of different people. There's a couple of different types of people rather. So number one is anyone interested in making money taking photos of houses for sale. And I put in here, even if you don't have photography experience, because a lot of people think, oh, I can't be a real estate photographer. I can't own a real estate media business unless I am a photographer. And that is absolutely not true. First of all, I didn't start as a photographer. No one is born a photographer. But second of all, it's just so different than what most people would consider photography, where it's really artistic and stuff like that. That's not the case with real estate media. There's a step-by-step process to follow. So number two, if you are a photographer, maybe it's a hobby of yours, you enjoy working with a camera, and it would be like a dream come true if you could build a business or create a full-time awesome job for yourself with your camera. That is who this training is for. And then number three, if you're a professional photographer and you're tired of what often comes with professional photography, which is a ton of weekend shoots, picky clients, you just kind of want to get out of that and you want to get into something more consistent, this beginner course is for you. And just wanted to show you some examples of people in each of those categories. So Adam had been an engineer for over a decade, wanted to do something different, jumped in and made this happen for himself. He's built an awesome business in real estate media. Ken was an amateur photographer and again, had some photography skills, but wasn't really sure how to connect that to a business. And that's exactly what we helped Ken with. Moving on to Melissa, she was a wedding photographer, I believe, but I know she was a photographer for over 20 years and she was able to pivot to real estate media, which is like, in my opinion, the place to be if you want to make money in photography. And so here's what we're going to go over in this beginner course. Number one is what type of real estate you should actually shoot, because like not all houses are created equal, and I think a lot of people have some misunderstandings as to where the money is in real estate media, real estate photography. Number two, obviously important, is how to get clients, right? If you don't have clients, you don't have a company, and so I'm going to share with you a high-level view of the strategy we use with our coaching clients to help them get clients for their business, despite having started their business in most cases a week or two earlier. And number three, what gear you'll need. Obviously, once you have clients, you're going to need gear, maybe in a different order, but either way, I'm going to show you what gear you need. Number four, how to actually shoot the real estate photos. Mentioned this a second ago, but it's actually a really simple process. And so that's really important. And then number five, I'm going to teach you how to build your business, how I actually built my business and the different options you have. That's the thing I really like about real estate media, is it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. You can have a smaller business, you can scale a team, whatever you like. So here's what I want to promise to you over the next 45 minutes or so in this beginner course is I want to show you exactly how you can use real estate media to build a business or a job that you love, because I think that's really important. It's cliche, everybody says it, but to me at least, I think there are things you will have to do in your business that are not fun. But it doesn't mean everything is not fun. And so I think a lot of people who go to their job every day and they dislike 90% of it, right? And so I want to switch that percentage. I want you to like 90% of it. And at least that's, for me, what real estate media has done. I want to show you the math for how you can get to $5,000 a month as a real estate photographer. I think that's a great starting goal that, if you put in the work and you really grind at it, you can achieve that. We've seen people achieve it in their second and third month, and even in rare cases in their first month. So I'm not saying that's gonna happen for you. I'm just saying that's a good starting goal to get your feet wet and be like, okay, this is a real thing for me. And then number three, how to actually shoot real estate so your clients keep coming back, right? Because you can be the best salesperson in the world, which you don't have to be to make this happen. But even if you were, and you couldn't shoot photos that your clients like or make videos or 3D tours, it's going to be hard to build a business, right? So we want to keep your clients coming back. I'll talk more about that in a second. And I mentioned this a second ago, but I think while cliche, this is where a lot of people are. And I think what happens to me that's sad is people say, oh, it's a cliche to be able to do what you like for a living. And I think the cliche is to think that you can't. Right? A lot of people think that's a dream, or it's some kind of thing that's not going to happen for them. And so if you're someone who you don't like going to your job, maybe you don't dread it as I have here, but you don't enjoy it. You get the Sunday scaries, that feeling on Sunday evening where you're just like, man, I just don't want to do this. And so not saying you will never get that again if you have a real estate media business. What I am saying is that for me, I haven't felt that feeling in years, and I think that's worth a lot more than the money I've made, to be completely honest. And so number two, you've always wanted to work for yourself, but you've never been able to make it happen. There's a lot of things that are hard about business, and there are a lot of ways people approach owning their own business that makes it even harder for them. And so the nice thing about real estate media, it's a service business. That's the easiest type of business to run. You don't have to spend a lot to get started. You don't have to open up an office. You don't have to hire employees. You can just do it yourself. And the only thing you're putting on the line is your time. And to me, I think that's one of the initial reasons why I was successful, because I didn't have a ton of money to put into this, right? I worked as an EMT while I was building my business initially. And if you know anything about EMS, it doesn't pay very well. And so I didn't have 50, 100, 20,000 even to open a business like a lot of businesses would require. So number three, I think this is the most painful one, which is you see other people making changes in their life and you just kind of feel stuck in your own. And a lot of times, at least from my perspective, that's because you don't have a vehicle or something you can kind of sink your teeth into and run with. And so maybe real estate media isn't for you, but maybe it is. And that's what I want to give you a little bit more overview and go deeper with you in this beginner course than you've seen probably on my social media videos. So you're here for that reason. And I want to do my best, over the next time that we have together to really deliver on that so that you can make a decision if this is right for you and if this is the industry that you want to pursue. Because ultimately, there's a lot of good opportunities out there, but it has to be one that you're excited about and makes sense to you and you feel like you can do. And so my job is to show you the opportunity and show you other people who have done it, because I want you to feel like you can do it, because if you're watching this, I know you can do it. You just have to decide if you want to do it. So first thing, this is a fun testimonial I put in here. Testimonial is maybe not the right word, just someone who's done this, right? They went to 70K in total revenue in their first 6 months full time. And I really like this one. And I blur out the names on here because, I like to keep our clients private. And a lot of this is, personal stuff. So this person is saying, I came from a low paying sales job making roughly $35,000 per year with a wife and a 1-year-old son. I dropped out of university partly because I couldn't afford it anymore. My parents were not in a position where they could support me. Felt like I was falling behind. I don't know if you resonate with any of this. It resonated a lot with me. Watched my peers finish school, start their careers, and some even buy homes. And so for him, it just felt out of reach. And then coming into this, and making 70K in the first 6 months, doubling his yearly salary in the first 6 months. And obviously there's expenses out of that, but still super exciting. And other people like Cam. Cam's an awesome member of our community, and got permission with him to share this, which I think it's a super cool story. So a year into business, he had done a $15,800 in profit month. That's after expenses. And he started with no camera experience. He actually started shooting on his iPhone when he initially started. Same with Kevin. Kevin's an awesome dude. He lives in Nashville and he's built an incredible business going from zero camera experience, as you can see here. The post on the left is actually one of his first posts when he was first getting some momentum as he had started his business and got a big shoot. And then this is a post from a couple days ago at the time of filming this where he had hit his first 20K month. I think a couple since then actually, just in his first year, which is amazing, right? And I'm not saying you're gonna do that. I wanna show you that normal people that aren't lifelong photographers make this happen. I actually think that if you're a lifelong photographer, it can work against you a little bit. You're gonna have to unlearn some of that stuff because there's a reason the phrase the starving artist exists. So love real estate media. It doesn't matter where you are. I believe that real estate media can change that. I wanna show you a little more in depth on my personal story, because I think it's easy when you're looking at doing something to find reasons why other people were able to make it happen and why you wouldn't, right? And so if you're doing that, if you don't feel like this is for you, if you're I don't know, you're creating reasons, or you think there's real reasons in your life that you can't do this and others can, I just want to give you the permission to think about that as not being true. Just think about it for a second. What if this actually could work for you, right? What if those things that you feel were felt by everyone else as they started and grew their business? And I'm not saying if you're watching this, you have an easy circumstance. I think most people don't. Some people have it harder than others, but everyone has a reason why it doesn't feel like they should start making a change in their life now. And I know that because that's always been true with me. That's been true with everybody we've worked with in our coaching programs. It's never gonna feel like the perfect time. And so whatever you decide to pursue, if you're waiting for this perfect opportunity, you're gonna be waiting a long time. And one of the things that I firmly believe is that the biggest thing that holds people back is failure to start in the first place, failure to launch, right? Failure to take that action step. And again, I hope you just pick something. Maybe you decide after watching this real estate media isn't for you, but maybe you decide it is. And either way, I want you to really just commit to taking action, because looking back in my life, I was looking at some photos that my brother, who co-founded my business with me, had sent me. yesterday actually, and it was our first office. And I just, like you remember that, but looking back, it was so much worse than I thought. I knew so much, less information than I thought. I was so much less prepared to build a business. But the only way that I've been able to build that business and become more prepared and become more capable as a business owner is because I was willing to take that chance. And that's why I've been able to build the businesses and the life I have, because maybe I was just too stupid to know otherwise, and maybe you're wiser and you have more life experience and you know that things, don't always work out. But I think that they work out more often than people think, because people just don't take action and then wonder why it didn't work. So anyway, about me, I grew up in Alaska, grew up skiing, and that was my intro into cameras. I was 14, 15, 16 when I was really taking skiing seriously. And if you know anything about 14 to 16-year-olds who are in any kind of sports, they lie about stuff, right? And so my friends would be like, oh, I did a backflip and all this stuff, and no one believed each other. And so the social currency was if you have a video, everybody believes it, right? And so I was like, I can shoot those videos. And so I started doing that. I had no idea what I was doing. I took awful videos, and then my family decided to move to Texas. And again, if you know anything about Texas, there's zero snow. And so what was my life was now completely different. And the only thing that I had that was consistent was that I had played with that camera, right? And so I started taking photos, playing around with it a little bit more. And sometimes opportunity or luck or whatever you want to call it just falls in your lap and comes your way. And so what mine was is when we moved down here, my mom got bored and wanted to become a real estate agent. And so she got a real estate license. She worked for about 6 months in real estate before deciding it wasn't for her. But that's where the opportunity came into play, that luck. And one time she was hired by her broker, or just asked, not even hired by her broker, to go over and shoot some cell phone photos of a house for sale. And this is actually, the top right is the first house that I ever shot. And it was that house that her broker, Ann, said, hey, can you go over and take some cell phone photos of this house? And I was with my mom, I had my camera. I was like, you know what, Mom, I'll shoot this house for you. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never shot a piece of real estate. I'd never even thought about shooting real estate, right? And I took probably, I wish I could find them. I've tried, right? But I probably shot the worst real estate photos of all time. I would never deliver those to a client today, but I shot them, I broke all the rules in real estate media, delivered them to the broker, Ann, and she loved them. She hired me back to shoot more houses. And I just want to go back to the luck thing for a second, because I think a lot of people, they say that they're waiting for that opportunity, but they don't know what that opportunity looks like. And so for me, it seems clear now, oh, that was the break point, right? My mom became a real estate agent. I got my first client the easy way. And so I would encourage you to think of it this way, maybe watching this workshop is your break point. It's your everything being fed to you. And I would argue that I would have much rather had something like this course that I'm sharing with you now than than the opportunity I had, because I had to go through a lot of hard things to learn what I'm going to share with you in this course over the next 30 to 40 minutes. And so you always have to be looking for that opportunity, and then when you find it, you have to go for it. So I was hired to shoot that first house in the top left. The next three are just random houses we've shot since then. I have no idea what my next three houses were. I charged $60 at the time, which was so little money. Don't charge $60. I'll talk more about that in a second. But at the time it worked. This is going on 11 years ago. And she hired me to shoot 3 other listings for her. And I had made whatever 60 times 3 or 4 is, right? $240 or whatever. And I thought I was a millionaire, right? Especially when you're 16 and making $240 in a day. That's ridiculous. Or I guess it was 60 one day, and the next day or next couple days I shot 3 more in the same day. And it changed my life, right? Initially. Now, I say it changed my life now. I didn't quite realize that then. I just thought I had the best college job of all time. But then things started to pick up. And so what happened is, and these are just random photos, these are not my actual clients, but one client would hire me to shoot a house, and then another client would hire me, so I'd get referred to another client, and then I have 3 clients, and I have 4 clients, and I had this massive list of clients, or at least it was massive for me at the time, all at this one brokerage, who every time they got a new listing, they hired me to shoot their photos. And so the business, one of the things I like about this business is it grew so much based upon referrals. Now, we have a strategy for getting your first few clients, but referrals are what's going to take this business to the next level for you. And that's awesome, because I don't like selling. It makes me uncomfortable, right? And I think that's something that I've worked on to try to get better at and try to get comfortable with doing. But either way, you just, you have to leverage the things you already have going for you, which for me, I didn't like selling. So I was so glad that this business would be where referrals would sell for me. Right? And so around the same time as this business was growing, I still didn't realize the opportunity. I just want to be clear on that, because sometimes it's very hard to realize it when it's in the moment, right? But the business kept growing, and I mentioned earlier that I was an EMT for a while. And the reason I was an EMT is because my goal, since the time I had been about, I don't know, 13 or 14, was that I wanted to go into medicine. I wanted to work in some sort of emergency medicine. Trauma surgery was like the ultimate goal, but who knows at that point, right? And so I got into EMS because you need experience, and med schools like to see that. And so I was still on that track, right? I had this business that was growing. Thought it was the most, best side job in the world. I was glad I didn't have to get like a normal job besides my EMS job. And so I continued on that path, right? I went to Baylor, and I actually dropped out after 3 days because I kind of had this moment where I was like, this doesn't make sense. I was working in EMS, and all the doctors I'd see in the hospital just like didn't like it. And every time I talked to them, they were like, I don't know, you should maybe consider something else. So I kind of had that in the back of my head where I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. I don't know if this is a path for me. And to me, the most exciting part of my life at that point was like getting the calls from new clients and getting consistent shoots and just having this thing where I just went out and took photos, which mostly was photos at the time, not videos or anything else. And I made money, and I thought that was literally the best thing ever. And so my dream of becoming a doctor started to become less and less of something I desired, and dropped out of Baylor, went to community college. And so I kind of hedged my bets a little bit, right? So I could live with my parents still, so I wasn't spending that much money. I didn't have to pay for room and board. It's called Hill College. It was in the same community I was shooting all those real estate photos in. So like everything lined up, and I just kept working at that. Grew the business, continued to put in the work. And one thing that I think really changed things for me was when I was able to bring my brother on board. We started Norman & Young together, which is my middle name and his middle name. And that really changed things because it started to feel more real. I was like, someone else is helping me. We could brainstorm off each other. We both had different strengths. And so we kept working on the business, made a ton of mistakes along the way. Like this took me way longer than it should have, as I've said many times. One of those mistakes, and I put it in here because it's like my favorite mistake of all time, is I thought that the way that I could make more money as a photographer would be to have better quality photos. Now, my photos were good enough, truly, and that's something I believe is important. They have to be good enough, but anything over that is a waste of time. So I bought all this flash and complicated stuff, and not only did I don't think my photos got better, not only that, but it took so much longer, and it wasn't what my clients wanted. They didn't care about 5% better quality photos for twice the price and twice the length of shoot time, right? And so these are actually the photos of all of that flash gear that I sold. These are the photos I used to list them on Craigslist at the time, and so I thought that was awesome. Next thing that, this is like a big changing point in, my path is building a real estate photo business, was this day where I made $819. And I had made a few $100s in days before that, maybe around 500 at the most. But for whatever reason, this number stuck with me. And I think it stuck with me because when I came home that day, I had worked all day for this money. Like I did everything wrong. And I keep saying that because it's okay to do that. You just got to get started, right? But I did everything wrong. In terms of I didn't charge enough. So I had to shoot so long to make $819. I didn't offer the right packages and services. And so I was shooting all day for way less money. Either way, I still made $800 in a day, which is a lot of money. And I went home and lived with my parents, and I talked to my dad because he always had businesses, right? So I'd always like to talk with him, share how I was doing. I was excited about the business, and he was like, man, I don't think I can afford to hire you anymore, son, because he would hire me to work at his businesses when I was growing up. And I just thought that was, I don't know why, but that stuck with me so much. I was like, my gosh, okay. Like it made it feel real for me for whatever reason. And so from that point, I've been really serious about the business. The first time that I was working and growing my clients, I was still focused on going to med school, and it wasn't my all-in thing. And like around that time, when this happened, it wasn't this exact day, but like my mentality just shifted, went all in growing my business. Here's some photos from along the way of me and Aaron in my parents' living room actually editing photos back when we didn't outsource. Talk more about that in a minute. Shot some cool houses along the time. Those houses in the bottom aren't even cool. I just put those in there because they're like, for whatever reason, core memories. Aaron and I shot the one in the bottom middle is in Dallas, and I just thought the one in Granbury on the right was cool. Started having some bigger months. You can see there's, I think that's half a month, April 1st to 17th, 36K, $3,000 in a day. Started having some success, and really, for the last few years since then, last 5 years really, just continued to build on that, continued to build the business to the point where we get to do some cool stuff today. One thing that's been really fun for me is starting Real Estate Photographer Pro. And the reason I started Real Estate Photographer Pro is because I saw how many things I did wrong that once I fixed, I was able to build this awesome business, right? So I was like, surely I can help other people with this. And so not only have we built Norman & Young to be a significant business that runs fully without me, which I love. I've been able to kind of complete the life cycle where I hired leadership, I hired a great team, and they run the business for me. They make hiring decisions. They do everything, right? And so now I focus all my time on helping others do this in other markets besides Texas. And so you can see we do a conference every year. This last one was in Vegas called REPP 2023. That was awesome. It was about 85 people, which is our biggest one yet in person, which is super cool. Bottom left is the speakers at that event. A bunch of great people that I've met along the way that are part of our Real Estate Photographer Pro community and built awesome businesses. We've done workshops. I've had the best time ever getting to build a super strong team, leadership team of Jared, Kenny, Aaron, and a team at REPP of 11 people currently who are all dedicated to helping people like you build their real estate media businesses. And just like kind of a side hobby of mine is I love aviation. I got my helicopter private pilot's license a couple years ago. My wife's a CFI, and so she teaches people to fly. And all of this that I've been able to do in business and in my personal life and the cool things that I've been able to get, I'm a person who loves cars, and so building a business allowed me to get some cool cars. All that happened because I took action. But the thing that I don't like about how it worked out is it took me so much longer than it should have. And so that's why I'm sharing this with you. I was once where you are. I just had to go through this like really long drawn out journey of a bunch of dead ends to figure out how to get where I am today. And so literally what I do for a living now, I own Norman & Young, my real estate photo business, but what I do, what I work on every day is helping people like you build this. And so that's been like the highlight of my life so far is helping all these people become owners. I think ownership is a really great thing for you. It's a really great thing for your community. And so to me, helping people be able to do that is awesome. And here's some people from our community, 14,000 in June. Top left is over $500,000 in lifetime revenue from someone who started working with us a few years ago. Someone having their first $1,600 day, record month of 14K. You know, a bunch of these case studies, same thing, 10K, which I think is an awesome first goal. The reason I show you that is I'm not saying you're gonna snap your fingers and make that happen. I just want you to know that there are people out there who are just like you, who built a real estate media company because they were willing to take the first step, right? They actually took action towards this. And the tools are out there. It's just up to you to use them, right? And I think that's what's awesome about today. That's part of the reason I built this business, but there's a lot of other resources out there too now that help people do this, which is super awesome. So if you already at this point know you want to work with us, click the button below and book a call with my team. You'll be able to talk with them about exactly what this would look like for you. We'll help you figure out if it can work in your market where you live and talk through your goals with you and make sure that that aligns. Obviously, I want you to stay for the rest of the training, but our calendar does fill up for those calls. And so grab a time if you're watching this and you're like, I kind of know I want to at least talk to the team. With that being said, jumping straight into the course portion itself, now that you kind of know the background, I need you to go into this like with the right mindset of like, I can do this, because you can do this, it's just gonna take work, right? And so that's like where we've been. Now we're going into some more of the tactics of this. So first thing first, what type of houses should you shoot? And there is a right and a wrong way to do this. And so the reason there's a right and a wrong way, and the reason this opportunity exists is because the way real estate is sold has changed. So like in the 90s and before, right, even in the early 2000s, when someone wanted to buy a house, they would go first to find a real estate agent, as you can see here. They would tell that real estate agent like their ideal budget and what they want in a house. That real estate agent would then go look at books, like lists of houses, and then they'd tour a bunch of houses and find the house they wanted. It was like this weird backwards process, right? Well, today you go to Zillow first. Like if you bought a house recently, you've looked at a house for rent, whatever it is, you go to Zillow first and you find the house you want to look at, then you contact the real estate agent. So it's opposite of how it used to be. And because of that, photos make or break a real estate agent's business, right? Because if they don't have good photos, they don't present their listings well, no one's calling about the house. And here's the thing. A lot of times when someone calls about a house, they don't buy or rent that first house, but they do buy or rent with the real estate agent listing that first house. So it's like a lead source for these agents. So that's a big change. The thing that I think is really important, because of that change, it's not luxury homes only that are getting photos taken. Here's some photos that we shot recently at my business of just normal houses, right? This is what we shoot, every day. The top photo and the bottom photo correspond with the house. You can see the one on the left is just a duplex, simple little house, and I'll show you some cool stuff about this in a second. Middle one's like a very average house that we'd shoot, and the top one's like kind of on the nicer side of what we'd shoot. And it's not even like a big multi-million-dollar house, right? It's in Texas. It might not even be $1 million. And the reason I say you want to shoot these normal houses is because they are literally everywhere, right? You can only shoot $10 million houses if $10 million houses exist in your area. And they do in some areas, but even if they do, there's not many of them compared to how many normal houses there are. And so this is a screenshot of Zillow to show you that. I just typed in Burleson, Texas, which is a smaller town in the area where Norman and Young, my photo business, shoots. And you can see all of those red dots are listings that need to have professional photos taken, right? Or have had professional photos taken. Those red dots are all jobs that you could have shot if you offered these services in Burleson, Texas, right? And you can see like the price points here aren't that much, 200 grand. Like Texas is not that expensive. And so a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't work in my area. I don't live in Los Angeles. I don't either, right? You don't need expensive houses, and I think that's really important. And you can see just because the houses aren't expensive doesn't mean we don't get paid well for them. So here's the photos from that first house, and the invoice is our 40 photo package. They paid $175 for that. That took us less than 30 minutes. If I would have shot that, no one was there, it would have taken me 10 minutes. Like this stuff doesn't take long. So you don't get paid thousands per shoot, you get paid hundreds, but it takes so little time. And here's the next one. This you can see is a bigger invoice, even though the house isn't that big, right? That's almost $1,000 invoice. We did our plus package, we did some like drone stuff, 3D tours. All that being said, that worst case scenario for a new photographer took 2 hours if you're really dragging, right? Like you can do it a lot faster than that. And so I want you to think about shooting the normal house. Like I don't want you to think luxury. I don't want you to get sidetracked trying to shoot luxury homes. I want you to think about shooting normal homes that exist everywhere. And if you do that, you're gonna have a much better chance of getting a lot of business and getting that point of consistency, right? Because even if you're not getting a $900 order like this, a lot of $300, $400 orders average, out to a great business every month. And so what we look for is an average order value of around $250 to $300. So every house you shoot be making $250 to $300. And at our business, our photographers shoot 3 to 4 a day. When I was shooting myself, I shot 5 a day a lot of times. So you can do the math on that, 300 times 5. It's not a bad deal, right? And so that's why people in our community, we give out an award called the six-figure photographer. And so that's why people are able to hit these numbers. It's not because they do a bunch of $5,000 shoots, because they do a lot of lower price shoots very consistently. And so they're able to build consistency in their business, which is important for consistency in their life. I think feast or famine of like a big shoot, no shoots is awful. And so having consistency is really good. At this point, you're probably like, all right, makes sense. How on earth do I get these red dots to be my clients? And so I'm going to show you our process, a high level view of that. Of course, we'd love to work with you in coaching and help you tailor this. So whenever you're ready for that point, I highly encourage you to book a call and talk with us, and we can help make this work for you. But here's how we do it. It's called the Instagram method. It's a 3-step process. You find real estate agents on Instagram, you engage with them, and you offer them a free first shoot. There's some nuance that goes into it, but that is the process overview, and it works so well. Every single one of our coaching clients is using this method to get clients today. That is the method that we use. Bring on some other things around it, do some work on your profile and things to make it more successful. But either way, that is the method that they're using. And the reason this method works, if you're like a photographer, you may have heard free first shoot and been like, nope, I know my worth. And there's something that I would encourage you. It's a quote from Alex Hormozi I really like, which is, being poor sucks more than helping people for free. And so there's kind of two sides to that, right? Like you help people for free, you don't really want to do that, but it creates an opportunity. And because real estate media is so consistent and because they're repeat clients, it makes sense to offer that. And you never know what comes from that, right? And so, this is an example of an awesome opportunity that happened because of the Instagram method. They said they just closed a deal to be a brokerage's exclusive photographer. They said they average 100 shoots a month. Remember that number for a second. Only got this because I offered a free shoot to agents under Eli's direction on Instagram, right? 100 shoots a month times $300 average order value is a $30,000 a month revenue stream. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, and I'm definitely not saying it's going to happen for you instantly. It could, but it's not a guarantee. But that is why we go look for opportunity, because if you want to make money, you got to get opportunity first. And offering a free first shoot is like a free trial of your product. And so this is a strategy all of our clients use. You can see someone getting their first paying customer who actually upgraded to drone images and paid them anyway. You can see another first shoot there. A little over 3 months into it, someone has their first $1,700 day. That's actually a guy named Warren, who I know would be okay with me telling you his name. And he made $1,700 in a day 3 months in because he did the Instagram method exactly as we taught. And another one there, just making their first $10,000 month coming out of the Army and doing that because of the Instagram method. And the reason this method works is because clients are repeat clients. So like you never give away a free wedding shoot because that person is not going to need another wedding shoot. But with real estate media, we have clients that use this a couple times a week. We have clients that use this a couple times a year too. They're not all busy clients, but because they're repeat clients, you can give them that first one free because it starts a revenue stream for you, right? You give the first one free and then all of a sudden those red dots, they start calling you when they get a listing, and that's super important. So that's how we get clients. Next kind of thing where people, like, as I walk through this process with them, we're going through in this course is, well, like, okay, but I don't actually have any idea how to shoot real estate. So like maybe I get the clients, how do I shoot it? I highly recommend keeping this process very, very like stupid level simple. And I think simplicity is really important. So the gear I recommend is very cheap. You can find that on my Instagram if you want to look at that. But it's either way, it's like under $1,200-ish new, and you can get it for like $600 used. So really cheap gear. We shoot everything HDR photography, which sounds complicated. It's not. What you do is every photo is made up of 3 individual photos. A dark photo, as you can see on the left, a middle exposure, correctly exposed photo, as you can see in the middle. That one's a little underexposed. Either way, and then an overexposed photo. And then we blend those together. When I say we send it to an editor who does it for like 70 cents an image, 80 cents an image, into these awesome finished photos. And that takes zero skill. Like I could teach you how to do this in like 30 seconds, right? It's the simplest process. And look at these photos, they're great. And so you want to keep a really simple workflow. The settings we use are really simple. We've tried to just streamline everything. Like as I've grown my business, I've noticed that the more I've made things simple, the more my business grows. So that's exactly what we help people do. So keep it simple, no flash, no complicated stuff. And one cool example of this is here's, at the time, they were new photographers. I made this a while ago, this slide specifically. So we've had some more since then. But these at that point were our 3 newest photographers. And they were all able to shoot at a level that was acceptable for our company in less than 2 weeks, right? Fully on their own. So that means photos, videos, 3D tours. We taught them everything they need to know, all of our company policies, everything in less than 2 weeks, to where they could go out with one of our clients and our client would think they've been shooting forever. And we're able to do that because we have a process for training photographers that works really well, that's simple, that doesn't require camera experience. One of these people had camera experience, the other 2 did not. So you don't need to make this, into this complicated years of experience thing. It's just not true. And actually, going back here, I want to show you this one. This is a really cool example of this. So this guy on the left here, his name's Kelvin, awesome member of our community. And it's a picture of him actually at a workshop we hosted in person teaching video. And while he was there, I was talking to him, and earlier in the day, he had told me that his business had done its first $10,000 month. And so congrats, we talked about that. I was excited for him. It was within, I think 6 months of him starting. And later in that day, we were kind of finishing up the day, and he had a question for me about his camera. And it was like a question that I would have had to know what type of camera he used to answer. So I was like, yeah, like what type of camera are you using? What's your camera again? He was like, it's the one you recommend. So like off the top of his head, Kelvin had no idea, just at least for a second. Like he knew, but it wasn't important to him. He just didn't know that well, right? He didn't even know what camera he was using, and he built a 10K a month business. And so that's why I talk about having a simple gear and a simple workflow, because that's not what builds as a business, right? Kelvin didn't need to know all about his camera and camera settings. We always joke that Aaron and I like very much don't know a lot about cameras. We just know what we need to know, right? And so I think that's really cool. Here's a member named Rochelle who got their first shoot requested to be published in a magazine because they liked it so much. And that's because you just follow a process and it works from day one, right? You don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel. And so next thing is everybody has a different plan. They have a different desire. They want something different from their life. And so some people want to take this full time. Some people want to do this part time. And so there's some options you have, right? Number one is you could do, this is a side thing, shooting a few homes per week. Now, if that's you, we can't help you in coaching. We want to help people who have the goal to go full time, but still you can do this. And so the next one is go full time. You do not, to work with us in coaching, have to quit your job and go full time. We don't recommend it. I recommend you keep your job. I will not tell you to quit your job until you've beat the income. But we want to work with people in our coaching program who want to take this at least to full time. You don't have to want to hire employees, but you want to have to go full time because that's where we can provide the most value. And so here's people that are just having awesome things happen as a result of them putting forward effort and taking the tools that we've given them and creating opportunity for themselves with it. And so first 10K month, kind of in the middle there. Someone who in the bottom left quit their job, their last day. That's like my favorite thing ever, when people like responsibly quit their job because they've already beat their income from their job on the side, which is very possible. Here's another person that I want you to read this. He said, so I'm laying in bed looking at properties, and I went to the summary tab as I know I've already surpassed my biggest month. I made $7,000 this month, and there's still 9 days left. That is more than my full-time salary at my 40-hour-a-week job. I'm in shock and awe, disbelief. And he's just thanking us after that. And like, to me, that is the most rewarding part of what I get to do. And it's awesome because that's what happens when you take advantage of opportunity and you put in the work. And so there's one, you can see the 70K months in our, or 70K in our first 6 months full time. Bottom right, someone who broke 15K in a single month. As a solo operator, by the way, without employees, without a big business, no office space, not very simple business, right? And then option 3, like this is my favorite, but it's a one step at a time process. You have to start doing it on the side, and then you can take it full time. And then maybe if you decide it's right for you, you can scale your business. And so cool, things on the left, you probably have no idea what they are, but those are people who used our referral link to sign up for the payroll service we recommend. And the reason they needed to sign up for the payroll service is because they hired their first employee. And that's awesome, right? Not only do they create opportunity for themselves and their family, they're now creating opportunity in their community and hiring someone to do what so many people would love to do, which is be a photographer for a real estate photo business. Like, I think it's better to own it, but it's not a bad thing to work for a business. So these people created opportunity and many more. These are just a couple of those. You can see people who, in the top crossed the $1 million in revenue mark for the first time in a year. That's awesome. Another one below, you can see, moving to that point, hiring the first employee, 15K, and going from being a waiter to a nearly 7-figure business. That's awesome, right? And I'm not saying that's because I did that for them. I'm saying I gave them the tools and they put in the work. And so I don't want anyone to be fooled. This is not an easy process, but we'd love to help you every step of the way in coaching. That's what, again, I do every single day. It's what my team of 11 right now does. So it's super exciting. If this has given you some more insight and you're curious and you think it may be the right opportunity for you, I want to invite you to take the opportunity to get on a call with my team. It's absolutely free. We are not a high pressure team. We just want to talk with you more about what coaching could look like for you. We want to talk about your goals and help you figure out what those could be and what's important. You want to make sure it works in your market and that you have what we think it takes to be successful doing this. So highly encourage you to jump on a call with my team below. Like it says here, we've had many students do this and we'd love to help you along the way. See, first 20K months and a lot of exclamation points in the left middle there. Someone hitting their first 10K month. Like, this is happening to people all over. And the reason it's happening is because they're willing to put in the work. And so if you're willing to put in the work, there's 3 things you need to have to be part of our coaching program, which is you need to be coachable. So if you think you have your way to do it, awesome. Go do it your way, right? And my way, just to give you kind of the side story, is my way was a bunch of dead ends. And so I'd encourage you to not be that. So you have to be coachable. You have to be willing to listen to us. You have to be accountable. This is up to you. We can help you. We can give you all the tools. We can push you. We can work with you. We can help you craft everything. But you have to be accountable to know that it is your business. You need to be the one willing to put in the work. And you have to be available. You have to show up. We can't help you if you're not willing to jump on a one-on-one call with us. We work around your schedule, but we need you to be available. And so if you're coachable, available, and accountable, I highly encourage you to book a call and talk with our team. I've said this a lot, and I'm kind of biased because it did change my life, but it really did. Real estate media changed my life, and it has the ability to change yours if you find out, if you're kind of thinking that this is right for you. So I would just encourage you to think that this could happen for you. Just the smart person learns from those who have been before them. And so, like I said earlier, the reason I created Real Estate Photographer Pro and the kind of mission that we've had is to build the coaching program that I wish I would have had, because I could have shortcut my process so much. This is only a 30 to 45 minute training. I don't know how long it's been, but there's only so much I can teach you in that. I want to go more into depth with each of those things I talk with you and give you everything that we've learned and a checklist to follow and just a roadmap that you can follow. And so that's why I'm inviting you to book a call. That's exactly what we do at Real Estate Photographer Pro. I'm so passionate about this because we're able to help people get results. We build an awesome team doing this. And so if you're someone that doesn't want to waste years like I did and make all the wrong mistakes and cost yourself tens of thousands of dollars, really hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in lost time for me personally, because I didn't know what I was doing, I highly encourage you to book a call. What we offer at Real Estate Photographer Pro is a coaching program that includes a lot of things. It's multiple group Zoom calls every week that you have the ability to get on depending on what you need help with, a one-on-one call with a dedicated rep team coach every single week that will help you through our process, community you can instantly connect with. Everybody you've seen in this, all of these screenshots are people in our rep community that you'll get to connect with, a checklist that tells you exactly what to do along the way, all of our systems, process, and training, like our full suite of teaching that we use to educate our photographers, we will help you through in a much more white glove way where we lead you through that entire process. So the truth is, like I said, I literally lost at least 5 years because I didn't have a program like this, and that's why I created Real Estate Photographer Pro, so that I could create that program for you and save you a lot of this trouble. You can totally do this on your own. It's just going to be a huge pain. It's going to take you forever, and when things take forever, most people quit, and when you quit, you'll never get the result. And so that's what we offer. with Real Estate Photographer Pro. And I want to invite you to take control of your future and let us help you. If you've been through this, and you're like, this makes sense, this is awesome. Maybe you've watched me for a while on social media, watched my YouTube videos, wherever you are in the journey and you want to make this happen, book a call with my strategy team below. They're great people on that team, and their job is to help people figure out if this is right for them. It's not a pushy sales call by any means. It's to help clarify your goals and create a plan. If it's not right for you now, create a plan for you where you can go out and start working towards that. So thanks for spending this time with me. I hope that gave you a little bit more insight into what the industry looks like and kind of the things that I've learned the hard way from a high level view. It has been so awesome to get to work with you and see you guys all in our community on social media. So thanks for being a part of that. If you haven't booked a call yet, I highly encourage you to do so. I'll see you later.